Haha. Hey everyone, welcome back. Rifkin is now back as well, but we can't find
Guru,
Guru.
yeah, so I was checking to see if maybe he was playing Go for StarCraft simultaneously or something, but he's not actually. He's just straight up like in a ladder game.
Okay, well, he does have the 15 minutes, or however long it now is, to finish that game, but
Yeah, I'll wait a few minutes and I'll message him on Skype if he doesn't finish it up soon, but it'd be a real shame to walk him over.
I don't remember if I shouted this out, but John Furnace, thanks for the 13-month resub.
Yay!
JD Toss brings up the lack of Protoss in this tournament. Yeah, the last week, just not been very many Protoss.
Well, I mean, understandable that Hearthstone is elsewhere, but I mean, for the most part, we don't really see Little Bow or Drogo come out to these. Mana will play from time to time, somewhat consistently. Fear will show up once in a while. Um, Gung Fu Panda never plays in these for whatever reason. Showtime never plays in these for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, you can throw out all your ideas of why Protoss don't join, but it's just really one of those things where Protosses don't join. Like, there's no
Well, there
common Protoss that we see, and we're missing them.
well, there just also aren't nearly as many. I mean, Europe, Zerg has dominated everything, and not because like Zerg is the best and Zerg's like overpowered or broken. There's just statistically a lot more Zerg pro players than there are Protoss.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, when I think about the Terrans that join up, right, there's technically not a lot of them, but they're really consistent. Like, Beastyqt is not someone that's winning dream hacks, and we're like, oh my god, he's in our tournament, but he's always in our tournament. So we know we're gonna have a Terran in the semis or the finals. We can always be pretty happy with that. But for Protoss, like Mana was playing in like 3 in a row, and that looked pretty cool. And then he obviously stopped for one reason or another. And I can't think of any other Protosses except the Koreans, like Tails, who is still in this tournament. He beats Caliber, and is now on the round of 8. But that's it. Just Tails and Mana once upon a time. The consistent Protoss. I guess True is going up against Sleep. Korean versus Korean, but I'm gonna give that one to True for surezies.
Well, what's funny is they are obligated to play the European server, which will be better for True, funny enough, as he's in America now and on the East Coast, no less.
Ah. Yeah, I could actually go visit True if I wanted. Wanted to go be obnoxious. Hey, let me see your Korean. Wow, you're so pretty. Okay, bye. That's exactly how that would happen. He lives like 40 minutes away from me.
You're being a real creeper right now.
I know, right? It's because he lives this Psystorm, and I know where they are. I don't just know where True lives. Just want to make that clear.
Actually, if I had a pro player, Korean or otherwise, nearby me, I think I would make a point to try and take him out to lunch and make a video or something. Like, even if it wasn't like a super interview video, just like, I don't know, just something fun.
Yeah, I could probably set that up. I don't know how good True's English is. I think
I
it's
mean, it wasn't too bad when he was living in Korea. It's only going to get better the more time he spends at the Storm Gaming House.
yeah, but I'm just imagining what an interview with him would look, or not an interview, but like a dinner with him would be like, and it'd probably just be him like
Well, it depends on what you do with the
tempting,
dinner.
but
Like, do you want to make it awkward because it's like kind of like a date? And
no,
it's like,
God, no.
oh, I don't know.
No, I was imagining like like probably like some of his Psystorm teammates and whatnot, like Korean barbecue, right? But I just imagine just kind of like sitting in the corner, like maybe contributing when he understands what's happening, but because that's kind of what happens. But that's what happens whenever we go with dinner to anyone, I suppose, that can't speak English that well. Damn Europeans usually speak English well. So spoiled.
Okay.
Aren't you ever jealous that Europeans learn different languages so much more readily than North America?
No, because they
Wow.
all end up speaking English, and I speak English, so that's all I need to know.
It's the
Like, I've
American
never,
way to do things.
no, but like in all seriousness, I've never sat there in a group conversation with like Hearthstone and someone else and had to worry about them start talking behind my back in front of my face, but in Dutch or something, right? Like I don't need to speak the other languages because everyone communicates pretty well, I guess. Even the Koreans that don't even speak hardly any English that we met in person, like you can usually just simplify things, point, and you can still talk.
Yeah, as someone who's always been interested in learning languages, it's never been about like being that person who's cool and can suddenly strike up a conversation when people weren't expecting it. Although that is like massive cool points, right? Like that guy and the waiter at the Korean place. But it's more just like, it's like it's so like interesting to learn a different language and realize how languages work. It's supposed to like really help if you learn different languages when you're younger. So I'm gonna force my kid to learn three different languages, and if they don't, then it's just like useless. Um,
So I did message Guru, by the way, letting him know he's kind of on a bit of a timer. Hopefully he'll show up. I mean, for BC, I think he wouldn't mind at all if this was a walkover. But we of course still like to see them play.
that's what I've been
Um,
gearing up towards, man.
Bottom side of the bracket's looking interesting though. So there's a couple of ZVZs going on down there, as you mentioned. True versus Sleep. Bly might beat Akron. Akron is not Zerg, by the way. But I'm actually really curious who Je suis Charlie is. So he actually beats Major through a walkover, not through actual games. Lily Kineen may advance the fight against him. And Lily Kineen is a bit of a fun guy to watch. If this ends up being a walkover and we have no matches, we may swap down there. So I'm actually going to ask him not to start his game yet, just in case.
Alrighty then. So I guess harkening back to the original conversation, because it was mentioned in the thread, but it actually isn't about IEM. People, for whatever reason, keep mentioning like this hasn't been thought of before and just shut down foreign pro league or foreign team leagues in general. I just wonder where this like it's been like a month now where it seems like people are just like, yeah, that's like the greatest idea I've ever heard of. Like, why has no one thought of that before? That sounds like a great idea. That'll totally fix all our problems. When it's like pretty much impossible. Besides the fact that there aren't really consistent foreign teams of 5 people or more, actually it's pretty hard to think of that many.
It'd be
Um,
fun. Okay, so first off, hang on that point before we continue on. I would totally run something. I mean, first, if you look at SC2 Improved Team League, like that runs pretty consistently. There's teams enough in it that there's obviously the option for some sort of league. I would love to do something where you can make custom teams of 3, not 5, but like 3, and have like all 3 matches play best of 5s or something. So, like for example,
well,
you could have your classic Team Liquid. You could have Snoot,
for
Bunny,
sure.
and TLO, but then you could also have like the what is Team on Fire essentially, right? Grab Bly, Nurchio, and some other random guy who aren't on the same team, but have them register as a team in this tournament.
Well, it's not. Well, so first of all, the point of like pro league and teams in general is usually to get as many people as possible some chances at playing. So reducing the number of people, you've kind of taken away that idea. Second of all, they're all talking about, I assume, offline pro league because we
Oh,
do
I'm
have
sure. I'm
online
just
team leagues like you were just talking about with SE2 Improve and whatnot.
yeah, I just want to make the point saying like it's not impossible to do for like a foreign team, but it's just not there the same way.
I think it's basically impossible because like even like Wardy, like it's like a full-time job for him to do the team league, and there's a reason that the Acer Team Story um league doesn't happen anymore. It was just such a headache to get everyone
Well,
on time and whatnot.
that was a pain in the ass, but that was a lot more just on Acer than
I mean, I remember so
take like too
many.
much work. I throw my hands in the air and done with this.
There were so many teams that like they would show up with 3 of their members, but not all 4, and then they would like
Oh, Evil
bat
Geniuses was
out
the
and
worst.
yeah. And then the money it costs to have them go to offline tournaments every weekend, which are what people are hoping would happen, just like Korean Pro League would be ginormous. Like, I mean, Europe may be a little less expensive, but America, like, to get Neeb to fly everywhere, that's actually pretty expensive. And he's actually only on a 1-man team, so it wouldn't even be him. I don't know, he would fly over. I mean, the way that League of Legends has done it, and League of Legends and shoot, another one that I was thinking of but I forgot, is that they basically made like a hub for their tournaments that they actually help them move to and live in. They make like so much money. They're just like, yeah, we'll pay you to play in our tournament and move here and be consistently on camera. I really don't think it's possible. StarCraft is already so grateful for what Blizzard gives us in like tournament prize money. And the flyouts, I guess, for the WCS Challenger, which is pretty cool and all. I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't know about a full team being flown out every single time.
Well, we finally have Guru with us. He was literally like
Great.
1 minute from going.
Then let's go. Beastyqt.
I gotta bring it back again. Just 1 more second. Sorry. Excuse me.
Okay. Well, Beastie was talking about Hearthstone, like I know anything about it. Oh, StarCraft 2 players. He's got crazy ideas. Alright, we're finally into another game. Frost, Ladder Edition. Beastyqt versus Guru, TvZ. I really don't know who to give this to. The winner of this will be facing Keen, who had walkover into 2-0, so this will be the first challenge for him, I suppose. And I could definitely see either one of these guys also beating Keen. It really does come down to one of these two versus Snoot, I think, in that top half of the bracket. Bottom half now basically down to True, since Major did not show up. But maybe Black can surprise us. You know, ZVZ can be hectic. We're into game number 1. No score yet. I don't know why I was going to put 1-1. In the bottom left as the orange Terran, he's Beastyqt. Yeah, okay. In the bottom right as the green Zerg, he is Guru. Alright, so, yeah, more discussion, of course, without delay about the Team League thing, and yeah, plenty of, I guess, examples going down here, as to why, how it worked in the past, or how it won't work, and stuff like that, and I think that also, if it was possible, it would solve, like, not solve a lot of problems, but it'd be really, really interesting and really, really cool. You get all those players that experience on camera, and you get them on a team, and that's a better environment, and then you'll want to get coaches for them, and it'll be, like, you know, League of Legends, you know, looking so fucking fancy and professional, but I just don't think that that's going to be something that Blizzard will invest into. And I mean, if we're going to be completely honest for a second here, if they're thinking about investing into it like that, like making California the hub of esports, it would either be for heroes, because for whatever flippin' reason, they love putting money into heroes, question marks everywhere, or more likely Overwatch. So
Just want to apologize to everybody. My allergies are really bad this morning, so I'm constantly just running off to basically flush my face out.
no problem.
I really wish I just had something I could, like an eye patch I could put on my eye that would pulsate water into it or something. I know that's impractical and stupid, but that's just right now what feels like would be the most relief.
I was gonna say it just sounds really gross to look at, but then I realized you're not on camera, so
Wow.
more power to you.
Wow, dude, that's really mean.
Like an eye patch that you can like see the. Well, I guess you wouldn't see it, I suppose.
No, it would that's the point of it being an eye patch, not like.
Oh, I still
not
think
some
that
torture
it'd be...
device that's like putting water in my eye and holding it open like wide and going.
I just think it would still be like when you think about it, you know, like you look at it and see an eye patch, you're like, oh, no big deal. But then you're like, oh, what if it's one of those eye patches? And you're just like, that's weird.
So real quick, people are requesting that we cast some of Snoot's games today, and we most likely will. He's been in the finals of the last 2 cups we've cast back to back, but this bracket half will eventually lead to him in the semifinals. So we keep following this out. What I'm hoping for is another Keen versus Snoot rematch of another rematch.
Yeah, right. So the Lings did not get in there. Okay,
This, by the way, I don't know if you mentioned this or not. I'm really curious to see how BC's playing this right now.
What the fuck was that?
We've been seeing him experiment with a lot of things. Now, maybe you kind of want to make jokes with the Cyclone versus Protos series. I don't know. I kind of roll my eyes at that one. But you know, bringing out Mech versus Terran, I don't think Mech still has a really good spot in this matchup, but Bio very clearly doesn't either. And that's why a lot of these guys started doing straight-to-air builds, you know, a couple patches ago. And I'm really curious to see where BC's at right now. I would love to see him just do something totally unique.
Yeah. Well, Bio isn't working out against, like, Snoot, who looks like that wall that no one can beat down. Bio can still work against, I suppose. How do I put this? Like, I mean, it's going to work against Guru, I think, at least once. Or Bly, or any other Zerg that's here, because they're still, I guess they haven't perfected it the same way Snoot has, or maybe we're giving Snoot too much credit and he just doesn't face the right Terran opponent for us to see that it's really not the best. But for instance, Guru is not going for Snoot style, right? He's actually going for what we saw from Bly, which is a faster Spire. And a build like this can die to a build like this that Beastyqt is doing. You're actually able to drop the Marines in the main or even out in the front, if as long as they're dropped down. 16 Marines with Stim against Mutas, you know, guess who wins? The Marines do. Even if the Ling support's on the ground, it still trades really, really well. So, I mean, it can't escape that well. But the point is, like, if this is a surprise for Guru, which it might just be, his scouting was unfortunately limited, he could die. I don't think he will, but he might take a bit of damage.
Well, the double medevac sent on out. We'll see if it's going to be damage or not. Timing on this is going to be pretty sweet. A lot of this, though, is still, like, those Lings, while they're not numerous, if they're underneath the medevacs, they're not going to be able to unload comfortably. Mutalisks will be picking away at them, too, so BC really has a small window to actually get the drops off.
Yeah. The Lings were there, they back off for a second, but as long as they're here before it's fully unloaded, right, yeah, then
He could put
Beastyqt
on a low ground if he really wanted to.
I was gonna say, he should have immediately picked up and then just went to, yeah, the low ground, because even clearing up creep and taking the Marines to the Lings head on is not a bad idea. The Marines will trade well at the very least, if not just win in a good position. But instead, Beastyqt just goes home, so that was a really good defense then by Guru, who now can comfortably get up to his Mutalisk, and also his transition into Roaches. He's bothering to upgrade his Mutalisk, which is a little bit interesting.
Right, and that's what I was going to bring up next, where, like, mutas really aren't working. We saw it yesterday versus Major, the attack commences. It's really not that great. One Liberator will be enough to spook the Mutalisk. The Lings are gone, so there's nothing for the Marines to have to dance around, and these will not be that effective.
Yeah. I don't know if you're here to hear about my, like, if they're going to invest into, like, a central esports hub, it's going to be for heroes, because they put too much money into that already speech.
Too big to fail.
Yeah. I'm surprised that people are, I guess, legitimately defending it, saying that it's more popular than StarCraft 2. Here's what really confuses me. I watched one of their finals, and they didn't get that many more viewers than our finals, so I don't know how true that statement is. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, first off, it's apples to oranges, but the other part of it is Blizzard has invested, I think, way more money in Heroes than it's ever invested into StarCraft in terms of advertising. I mean, they really tried to push it hard at the start. They've continued to invest in it since then. And what kind of breaks my heart about that, this really doesn't have to do with, like, daddy's favorite kid, but you had StarCraft, which was already established as an esport. If you continued to promote the shit out of that, I feel like it maybe wouldn't be in such a rough spot, but instead they decided to go head-to-head with, like, League of Legends instead and say, no, we need to put our foot down in the MOBA scene. So I don't know. Like, it's a lot of money being put into Overwatch 2, for example, but for some reason, the two different types of advertising feel, and I think are received by me at least, very differently.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it is really hard to say, as you said, apples and oranges, because those mutas got demolished. Because we don't like Heroes as a game, but we love Overwatch as a game.
Well, but it's not even about that, though. It's the choice of it still, like, they're putting more money into Overwatch advertising. And when's the last time you ever saw a StarCraft commercial, right? But the difference in it is, like, Overwatch doesn't feel like it's trying really hard to take the spot of something it doesn't need to, whereas Heroes does. That's my point of view, at least. Anyways, this attack does come in, so these Liberators are a little bit scared to siege up. The second they do, the corrosive bowels are going to fly.
Yeah, it's not a big enough bio army to take this on. It's actually very, very scary. There's usually tanks, like 1 or 2 at least, combined with this, and the Liberators already sieged up would have been more ideal. So, Guru, I mean, he might just win. He's certainly doing a lot of damage, you know, considering that his third base is fully saturated, his fourth is on the way. He could probably start teching or upgrading behind this. He only has 1 carapace, but
it's so frustrating, this dynamic of, like, Liberators really are not that great early on in these positions. Again, Corrosive Biles just counter them so hardcore. But it's not like you can easily go Banshees. They fall off way too hard in the end game. Hell, they fall off in the mid game, right? So it's just unfortunate either way. The tank finally does come out, gets saved from the Corrosive Biles. Unfortunately, the Marauder falls for it, but it's only 1 tank left to defend. And Beasty, Oh, it doesn't get the pickup. This might just be it. The high ground is
Yeah,
not
well,
too bad for a
GG.
fight, but he just doesn't have units. And by the way, Guru banking like 1,200 minerals behind that, that was going to be easy peasy for him.
Yeah, that looked really easy for Guru. I mean, I want to partially blame it on Beastyqt's opener not doing anything, but I think it was half that and half just he was unprepared for it. Really, I mean, he saw like move Marines out in the middle of the map. He obviously didn't expect so many roaches waiting for him. So bad start for Beastyqt.
So, a good friend of mine on Twitter, Van Ruki, has reminded me with this incredibly Canadian tweet that today is the day before Canada Day. So happy day before Canada Day, everybody.
Is Canada Day July 1st?
Yep.
What happens on Canada Day?
People have barbecue in the streets and it's like fireworks and it's like Canadian 4th of July, except 3 days earlier. I don't know. Shut the fuck up.
Well, okay, just calm down, but like, what are you celebrating? Just Canada? Or like Canada's independence from something?
I'm not Googling it. Hang on.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna trust you're not Googling it.
Because I'm clearly reciting from memory and definitely not reading off of Wikipedia, Wikipedia here. That Canada Day, aka July 1st, is the National Day of Canada, a federal statutory holiday. Don't you know, Zombie Grub? Celebrating the anniversary of July 1st, 1867, the enactment of the Constitution, which united the 3 colonies into a single country called Canada within the British Empire. Originally, fun fact here, originally it was called Dominion Day, but the holiday was renamed in, I believe it was 1982? I can't be sure though. The year that the Canada Act was passed.
Alrighty then.
I had no idea. I just know it's Canada Day. This thing's like Earth Day where you're like, really? Like, okay, cool, the Earth is old, yay. But Canada Day, I guess I never really knew what it was for. We just celebrated it.
Oh. I mean, like, is that something you learn in, like, school, though?
No.
Oh. Well,
Maybe.
I mean, I don't think it's that bad of an idea to just be able to celebrate your country
In
for no
fairness,
reason, but...
If I did learn that in school, it would have been in, like, elementary school. Like,
That's
not...
true, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, but that's, I guess it's funny, I never, well, before I was in, like, esports, right, like, I mean, my, what's the word, my knowledge, or just how many, like, experience with, like, different cultures and their holidays, specifically, was like, non-existent, right? Like, at most, it was Cinco de Mayo, and that's not really a thing. That's like an American thing, like Taco Bell. It is a thing, but not the way that we celebrate it. But anyways, but now that I've learned from you that not only do you celebrate your own firework barbecue day mere days before our firework barbecue day, you also celebrate your turkey day a month ahead of our turkey day.
I'm just saying, like, Canada's the West Coast, you're the East Coast, man.
Well, it's like
You're 3 hours behind.
it's like we came up with these ideas and
you're 3 hours ahead.
and Canada was like, no,
Okay.
we came up with it first because our holiday's sooner. Fuck you.
It's like yesterday on the calendar. Gaming
Oh,
started
that's
their
exactly what
event,
I was thinking.
like 5 minutes after us, so they'd be a little bit higher.
Exactly.
All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 2. He's unfortunately down a game at the moment. A little bit frustrated with balance. You may not, I don't know if you showed them the lobby chat or not, but Beastie really not happy with the way that game went. In the bottom right, he's the purple Terran player, Beastyqt.
And it's up left as the Green Zerg. It's Guru.
So, I mean, there's some merit to Beastie's complaints a little bit here, right? He says, I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, oh, you got 2 base muta, you do no damage, of course you can still win the game. And I kind of like if that was all that happened, I'd be like right there with Beast and be like, "Yep, dude, fucking Zerg, nerf him. It's ridiculous." But the thing is, like, he went for a quick third behind it. He defended well, great, but he defended well specifically against mutas. As we know, Ravagers are just so good against Liberators. And BC had so many more Liberators in his army that he even did Marauders, I think, at one point. So it kind of just sucks that it's at a glance easy to look at that and like brush it off. And BC's a smart guy. He's in no means somebody who's like stupid and just being angry about like losing. But it does like to look at the game in that perception and be like, yeah, it was simply this and this, and that's why I lost. And I think that leads to a lot of the frustrations in StarCraft.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. It sums up my points really well too. So I'll just add that it honestly felt like I mean, we had builds like that in Heart of the Swarm. I know Beastyqt like mentioned like in Heart of the Storm it was so much more simpler, but like same things would happen. We'd see like pro gamer Terrans focus too much on the Mutalisk, not realize fast enough that it was only like 8 Mutalisk and they weren't adding any more, and actually get steamrolled by lings that actually weren't being upgraded, you know, like that all lane it's tricky, but you know, the follow-up happening, we're expecting it, you're too focused on one thing, not the other. So by making 4 Liberators, you know, did you really need to? No. Missile turrets and Marines would have taken care of that mute account so much easier. That's 4 more medevacs, maybe you start your tank production a little bit earlier too, you know, and it's just, it adds up to a lot of things. But I especially didn't like the opener that BC did, to be honest. Like, it's not just that he got denied the like extreme kill power of the 2 base medevac push, because if it does get fully unloaded here, it can kill like queens and get the mineral line, and it does a lot of damage. But it's that if it does get denied, what you'll see some other Terran players do is still like, you know, bounce to this base and bounce to this base and then clear up creep in the middle. Basically really just left, you know. And then when he finally decided to come back, it was after the roaches were up in the numbers of like 40, and that's what we saw, the weird push out in the middle of the map. So I think a lot of things contributed to that loss, but definitely the worst was just not expecting such a big push. I'm sure he'll be more on guard to this map. And speaking of this map, we did have Guru try and, like, you know, make sure he wouldn't get killed by 3x Reaper, because we've certainly seen Guru die to that, and we've certainly seen Beastyqt do it. He went for a pull first, and probably had that, like, you know, his, like, mouse button on, like, the build Roach Warren as his Overlord ran into the natural, but once he saw that it was a macro build, he didn't need it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird. Saw, like, the explosion of the bunker, but he still sees it. Okay, anyway. With the 2 base lair build, it looks like Guru really liked that. He might do the exact same thing, but I think if he does, like I said, Beastyqt will be a lot more on guard against it. I don't think it'll be the same game.
Well, for BC, again, like this is one of the first maps we started seeing the straight to air builds. The question kind of still goes, like, is that something he's maybe considering, maybe not? Oh, that Reaper is slightly out of position. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But either way, this first drop, going to try and do what damage it can. It is one would of mine, 6 Marines, so the potential's certainly there.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, too, actually, just going back on the frustrations of things for a moment, when you play against Guru, like, again, Homestar Cup, everybody was taking shots fired at Guru, right? And it's really unfortunate because, like, Guru gets such a bad rap, but plays decent games still at the end of the day, wins matches against players, and, you know, that's probably one of the most important factors about him. He's got victories under his belt.
Yeah.
But damn, if it's not, like, frustrating knowing that all the players constantly remark, oh, he only uses one control group, he A moves all the time. Like, you know, it's just, it's so funny watching the brute force of this guy win out. But here and now, the finesse of Beastie's looking pretty nice. You got three Overlords with this already. The links are kind of dying off. This attack's not working out so hot. Here come the reinforcements. That queen has no creep. She's gonna... Wait.
What? How? What's the creep?
What the fuck?
Okay. Wait, I'm really confused.
What just happened there?
Wait.
I want to go back at the replay after. How did that... Hang on. Okay. Good build out of Beastie. Good attack out of Beastie. GG's. I'm going back to that replay right freaking now while we do ads. And I need to see how he put that creep tumor down. So thank you guys for watching. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, now you're on.
Oh. They didn't hear me yelling?
No, they didn't.
No view bots!
Okay, so Rifkin went back and looked at the replay.
I was like... Because, okay, this is something I think was so fucking obvious, but because it took so long to clean up and the Overlord died, I didn't realize it was dropping creep the entire time. And it had been so pretty much cleaned up. We were just both like, three overlords with this. Where did that come from? How could that have been?
I'm just gonna watch the delay. Oh, I see it. I see where it was.
Yeah, so I was like, what the front door? Like, what? Where did that creep come from? But it's actually really obvious and not such a sneaky, cheeky thing. That was just our bad. Too caught up in the fight, not caught up enough in the one overlord drop and creep.
Okay.
Scandalous No So hits us up with a 16-month resub. Thank you very much. As we get into game number 3 here on Invader. Tied up now 1-1 here for the Corsair Cup. We're still in the round of 16. Winner of this will go on to the round of 8 and play against what is going to be Keen.
Yeah. Did I make this map? I don't think I did.
You didn't, so we don't have graphs. And that's
yeah.
okay.
I was gonna, but I was host, so one of them must have invited me really sneaky, like, or it's like 3 seconds of my life. I just don't remember.
We were too busy looking at the stupid.
Right?
Thing.
That's so weird.
But okay, to kick off in the upper right side, we got the green Zerg player. It's gonna be the Polish player Guru.
The bottom right, as the purple Terran is Beastyqt.
And do you remember where he's from? We talked about this the other day on stream.
Serbia?
Yes.
Thanks for testing my knowledge, Rifkin.
It's like
I'll
flashcards.
pass that quiz for surezies.
Yeah, it's like flashcards.
You know how Jeopardy did like a bunch of random... Well, I guess even StarCraft 2 Jeopardy had a couple of questions about pro gamers, but I wonder how good people would be at questions like that with different pro gamers. Like, where do they come from? Where do they live?
I think I could get most people, but there would be some out there like Soul, for example, who I keep forgetting his Terran regularly. Like, I'd also forget where he's from type thing.
I think
he's Polish.
You would be pretty damn good at it. I'd be okay at it. But I wonder about just like casual viewers, if they're even noting, you know? There's the people that are actually like,
Do they notice the extra effort we put in to letting people know we know these players? Like, we know where they're from, guys. We swear.
There's like the people that are like, you know, cheering for the countrymen, and that's cool. So they obviously know that, you know, one person's from where and whatnot. But what about anyone else? It's like when Zerg players, you ask them anything about Terran, and they're like, I don't know. Anywho,
well, going into a couple of things here really quick before we touch base on the game. First off, we haven't really mentioned it a lot today, but quick reminder and a big gracious thank you to Corsair for making all this possible, even retweeting about it to their followers. So guys, please check out the links down below. That's all they want. That's all we want, for you to click on those Corsair links and take a look at their website. But this actually will lead into the winner playing versus Keen, and then that leads into what is possibly Snoot. I mean, this whole top half of the bracket looks really sexy. The bottom side's not too bad either, but it is interesting to see that it's True versus Bly right now. And winner plays either Tails or Kaneen, maybe, or something like that. It'll be interesting to see who actually ends up in the semifinals on the bottom half.
Yeah. Looking like a pretty good round of 4. Certainly, I think we're still going to have a pretty damn great best of 5 finals. Well, it's still to be seen. Beastyqt bringing it back in that last game with just a really good drop that just snowballed, really. I think that is one of those drops that, you know, akin to the double medevac drop we saw in the first game, can really punish someone going for a fast lair, specifically. And that's what Guru was trying to do again. He didn't have quite enough lings or quite enough queens. They weren't all quite together. The creep spread wasn't quite there. Like, all these quite things that if there was actually all around, Beastyqt does not snowball and win the game off of that. It's also Frozen Temple, and Frozen Temple has that little trick to it, so I was going to consider that. While it wasn't a tank, it was still the same abusive area. And Invader is going to be a very different beast, and I guess Beastyqt realized that, is going to go for a oldie but a goodie. Hellbat all in.
Yeah, I mean, vertical? Yeah, vertical spawns. I actually don't think this is too bad of an idea. The bases are close enough that you can get there fast enough, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. This really uses a do-or-die type build, and what I mean by that is if this fails miserably, BC doesn't really have a good fallback off of it, and a Roach counterattack could win the game.
Yeah. That is definitely true. He might be hoping for a fast lair again, but he sees that the third base is down, so that's kind of out of the question. And since that's out of the question, then, you know, 95% of the time, it's going to be roaches fairly quickly, or Mass Queens if you're facing Snoot. The point is, like, 2 units that are good against Hellbat all-ins if you have enough of them and in good enough position. Not just, Mass Lings. So seeing the Hellions is already a bit of a shocker, but he also saw the medevac with that Ling.
Well, this is actually an important detail to this as well. This is a lot later of a push, but it comes with 8 Marines instead of 4, or sorry, 7 Marines instead of 4. And the Marines really are what bring a lot of the damage. The Hellbats are some splash and some brute force, but they're mostly just tanks for the Marines.
This is actually interesting. Guru's not just making roaches, he's all-inning. This might have been reactions to realize what was happening or what, but...
I like that pickup. I like the control of Beasty for this so far.
Right? What's interesting about it is that if the roaches aren't in, like, on creep with Queen, targeting the medevac, on creep to spread and move around, they're actually not that great.
I wonder about Liberators here, too. This is, like, really questionable, because I think if you get enough Liberators up soon enough, like 4, the Ravagers aren't numerous enough to be that scary. But at the same time, medevac's healing units may just be straight up better, considering there's going to be a lot of Lings behind this, too.
Yeah. This is it's a more interesting game than just, well, obviously, like, 3 CC versus 3 hatchery, but it's more interesting than just, like, a Hellbat all-in versus a Zerg. Like, the fact that it's 2 all-ins facing off against each other, it's always, I get good to note, like, which one beats out which, but it's not very cut and dry. Tank behind should have, well, actually, they're not pouncing on it, so I was gonna say maybe a bunker can be placed down now. Save the tank for even further. Without a medevac, though, Corrosive Biles will kill it.
Yeah, you repair that all day, not going to matter. SCV's pulled in, not quite going to cut it. Other side of the map, and we got those Liberators heading to the main. This will actually screw him over. That Hellbat actually is that linchpin to make that work, but unfortunately, while he's doing great damage over there, he's not going to be able to defend at home, it seems. Another tank's about to pop. I'm almost wondering if this might be better unsieged. I don't know.
Yeah, either way, either the Ling's on top of the Corrosive Biles do, so... Not much that can be done for Beastyqt, and it looks like he is out of this game.
GG, Guru takes the series 2-1.
Yes, indeed. So there goes our Terran. Oh, Lily Keen's still in. Oh, Keen, that's right. Keen is the next person they're facing.
Yeah, well, that and this will make a ZVT again, which will be interesting to see. We'll go to a small break while we get this set up, folks, so don't go anywhere. And we'll be back in a couple of moments with more Corsair Cup action here in the round of 8.